good, everybody? It's your boy, Jolly by Nature, and we are back bringing you our PvP post-commentary for Chapter 5 in the Blastburn Radio Nuzlocke World Tour. Guys, I'm going to do my best to be, enthusiastic and engaged in this video. This is the second time I recorded it because I had a technical goof up, and I'm pretty mad about it. But that's fine. This is good. This is a cool, fun time. This is an exciting chapter of gameplay. This is our second section of doubles PvP, which is really, really exciting. We did really, really well the first time we did doubles. That was the best we've done all season, so hopefully we can carry that forward with us. It's going to be a little bit harder, though, because now we have a gelato, and we have to use that gelato, and that's not as great. We do have some really cool tech that we can utilize in doubles, though, and we're excited to get rolling with that. Now, our first match this week is against our good friend Celeste. It is worth noting, if you are paying attention to the overlay, that when we did our team builder, we said we were going to use a team that is different than what you see on your screen against Celeste. And we were, and then I made a game time decision and I changed my mind, and we will see how that goes. Now, I changed my mind largely because the more I looked at it, the more I was like, okay, Celeste had problems last week out of Claude the Skuntank. She had a lot of problems out of Claude the Skuntank. She had a lot of problems out of Taquito. Like, those were the two things that were really successful for us that almost clinched us that match, right? So I was like, well, if Celeste is paying attention, she will have noticed that that Anna's Roserade hard-walled Taquito. And she has a very good grass and poison type as well in the form of Bella, her Mega Venusaur. So Bella's gonna come. Bella's gonna have to come. I was like, and she's gonna notice that she has a Hippowdon that can eat all the electric that I've been throwing around to kill her Skarmory and also threatens Claude. So that thing is definitely coming. I wasn't sure what would not come. I mean, Benson the Charizard, like, certainly for Bella, and then maybe no Breloom this week in favor of Hippowdon or something, right? But I was pretty sure those two Mon were going to come. And so I was like, man, like, our Gyarados is looking real fresh here. It's looking real nice. Sashimi's looking real good. I kind of want to bring Sashimi. And then, as we can see now, Celeste brings a team that consists of none of the things that I expected. She brings Benson, the Mega Charizard. She brings Yumyan, her Snorlax. Brad, her Raichu. Starscream, her Skarmory. Song, her Florges. And Shiitake, her Breloom, which is the opposite of what I expected. It's basically the same team she brought last week that I almost beat. In singles, which is different, but still, basically almost the same thing, and I was not prepared for that, which is unfortunate. Nonetheless, this is what we find ourselves up against, and our lead is pretty well defined here. We are going to lead Turducken and Sashimi against this, so we get the turn 1 Intimidate off against any of these physical threats, which is everything on this team except for Brad and Song. We've also got the opportunity to set screens early in the match, which I think is really good. In this match, we really, really need to get Shelby set up enough to start breaking walls. Because if we can get one of, like, the 3 Pokemon that are really integral to Celeste's defensive core, if we can get one of them down, then the others start to fall like dominoes, right? Or at least that's the theory. That's the goal. That's what we're going to do our best to do, is position ourselves to where Shelby can do good work. So here we go. Yeah. And here's Celeste looking very fresh in her hot new fit. And she is going to lead with Benson the Charizard and Yummy and the Snorlax. So this is actually like a fairly textbook lead for what we're bringing, and really, really good too. We're going to get the Intimidate off immediately. We're going to be able to outspeed everything on this field and get a Reflect up. And since both of them are physical attackers, like, we're going to be in really good shape there. However, worth noting immediately that I made a pretty big goof. I'm going to go ahead and click Reflect here, and I'm going to stay in, and I'm going to Aqua Tail into Benson, which will become a neutral hit once it Mega Evolves, right? And Benson is going to Mega Evolve. But the big goof that I made is I had talked during the team builder about how if I bring Sashimi against Celeste, Celeste has a lot of status floating around. I'm going to want the Lumberry. but I hadn't planned on bringing Sashimi against Celeste, so I had it set up for my match against Anna, where I wanted the Rocky helmet. And guess who forgot to put the Lumberry on Sashimi, and guess who got their Sashimi burned on turn 1? Just extremely unfortunate. And again, entirely my fault. I made like an audible at game time, but I needed to follow that through and make sure that I had what I needed, and I did not do that, and that's my bad. It's not an excuse, certainly. That's a mistake that I made, and now I'm gonna have to pay for it. We do get our Aquatail off, but it does so little. It does basically nothing. Yeah, we're going to stay in and we're going to air slash into Benson, which is a really good move for multiple reasons here. Obviously, the damage is potentially at least really, really good, but even more than that, we also have the potential to flinch, which if we can flinch out the Mega Charizard, that's incredible, frankly. That's excellent. You love to see that. Benson definitely having a case of 4 move slot syndrome here. We know that it at least recently had Fire Stab and Fire Fang, and it's got Will-O-Wisp. Like, it probably wants Roost. It probably wants any type of coverage whatsoever, and like it probably wants Swords Dance, and eventually it's going to run out of coverage there. But we don't know exactly what it's packing at the moment. It's packing Shadow Claw, which it lands into Turducken, which even after the Intimidate and the Reflect does a really respectable amount of damage. We also see a Body Slam from Yemian going into Ravioli, but neither of those are like really threatening like KO hits due to the combination of Intimidate and Reflect, of those defensive measures already putting in really good work. All right, in this turn we are going to switch Turducken out for Bold, the Clefairy, and we're going to go for a Hone Claws, which I think was a really like strong play here. Overall, like I really do. I think it was a really strong play on this turn. We're holding the Lumberry on Ravioli here, so we don't have to fear the Will-O-Wisp as much. We can take the opportunity to get set up, and I don't believe that her Mega Charizard is holding Dragon coverage, particularly with having Ghost coverage and Will-O-Wisp. And it does switch out in favor of Starscream the Skarmory. Yemi the Snorlax goes for a Toxic, which once again we are holding the Lumberry, so we're just gonna eat that right up. Not a problem. And now we're at +1 attack, +1 accuracy. We're in a pretty good spot with Ravioli, but we're going to make a pretty crucial, I think, misplay this turn. We're going to T-Bolt into Starscream and go for a second Hone Claws on Ravioli. Not wanting to let Starscream just like sit there for free. And the problem with this play, as we are about to see, is we're going to get a little bit of damage off into Starscream, which is not bad, certainly. We're going to get some damage off. And we're going to see a Toxic into Bold, which is actually incredible because Bold is Magic Guard, so Bold's not even going to take any damage from that Toxic, but we're just going to get Whirlwinded out on Ravioli, which is something that I probably should have called better. I could have just gone for a +1 Dragon Rush into Yemian at that point. I could have gone for the Hone Claws and follow Mead with Bold and gotten to +2. Either of which would have been a significantly better play than just allowing me to lose that setup. It was really unfortunate, but it does put me in a position where I have Bold and Shelby uninjured in front of very like defensive Mon, which is really good here. So we're going to immediately go for a Follow Me Swords Dance and see what these things want to do. And Celeste goes for a Roost on Starscream, which is kind of a mixed blessing, right? Because on the one hand, she didn't force out my Clefairy, which is good for me, but on the flip side of that, she's back at the full, and I have to break this Skarmory, which is a problem. I'm going to Follow Me and go for an Agility this turn, which in hindsight, like I understand why I made that play, but in hindsight it was a mistake. I know I can't break the Skarmory at +2, and I should already be faster than it. Yeah, I am already faster than it. So the correct play here was to go to +4, so that I could hit the Skarmory as hard as humanly possible before it forces me out, because we knew it was gonna force me out. I was never going to be able to stay in and wall break for very long, which is what the Agility's for, right? Is to outspeed Brad the Raichu if it comes in and be able to finish it off. But And this is an important, I guess, asterisk on that. We're going for Air Slash into Starscream as well, which has the potential to flinch it, which would have been game-changing here. We do get the crit, which is huge. We would not have done nearly that much damage at Raw +2. And we go for the Air Slash. And if we flinch here, then we stay in and we continue to break. Unfortunately, we did not get the flinch. Starscream forces us out, and that's where we're at. Bold the Clefairy comes back out for Celeste, or for me rather, against Celeste. Haha. And this is a kind of a weird turn. Like, I'm clearly floundering for what exactly do I do with these two Mon in front of those two Mon. Again, I was considering going for a light screen. That's not really the play, though. Like, there's nothing especially offensive in front of me. And I need to take care of what's in front of me. I can't become too passive in front of Starscream. But Starscream is going to go ahead and swap out in favor of Song. So actually, in hindsight, I guess the light screen would have actually been a pretty decent play. But we go ahead and Air Slash into it, which does not do much damage at all. We know how specially bulky Song is. That's not a surprise to anyone, certainly. And we get a Thunderbolt off as well in that double up. But again, very little damage overall. And Reflect wears off, so we have no screens at all. And again, the question here just kind of becomes, what do I do? And I'm gonna hard swap into Shelby here, which was unquestionably a mistake. Like, I understand why I made that play. Like, the thought process is I've got to get Shelby in alongside Bold before Bold is too injured to allow Shelby to set up, or everything is wasted. What I neglected to factor in is the fact that Song has Dazzling Gleam, which means I cannot redirect Song's attacks off of Shelby. They're just gonna hit her, excuse me. That's a problem. We also see Body Slam from Yummy and the double up into that slot, which doesn't do a ton of damage after the Intimidates, but it does land the paralysis. We have the Lum, which is good, but we're still at like 5 HP. Like Shelby is wrecked here. I think staying in and going for a light screen would have been a much better play overall. Even if that meant that Turducken went down in the end. Like, Turducken is a much less integral piece in this match than against Annabeth, and I think that would have been good use of Turducken, although maybe I was afraid that it was going to take too long to go down and Bold would take too much damage. I'm not, again, it's been a while since I played this match, so I'm also kind of piecemealing together my own logic, but definitely hard swapping into Shelby here was a misplay 100% of the time. I'm going to go for the return into Song because, like, what else do I reasonably do at this point? And then, again, I'm in really kind of a rough shape because it becomes, who do I switch into this Dazzling Gleam? And the answer, unfortunately, is no one, right? Nobody wants to switch in and eat this hit. Yeah, so ultimately we're just going to stay in and click a Dazzling Gleam of our own, even knowing that it's going to do basically 0 damage. We get a return off into Song. Eat the Dazzling Gleam. Shelby goes down. Do a D-Gleam of our own. And again, like, the damage that we're doing is so negligible here. And Song's at not quite half health. Which is not where we want Song to be, frankly. But we're swiftly running out of answers to hurt her. Which is not great. Sashimi being burned is a whole problem. So we do bring Sashimi out. We get another Intimidate off on Yum-Yum, which is to the good overall. And we're going to go ahead and Aqua Tail into Song. Are we? No, I think we go for Protect this turn. That's right, we do. And we go out into Turducken, which in hindsight I think was probably something of a misplay. I probably should have gone actually hard out into Gelato. because I honestly, I think that my biggest threat to Song and company right now, offensively, is just Toxic. And so I think going out into the Fat Pig was probably the objectively correct play. Although getting a light screen off at this point certainly would not hurt for Song. For dealing with Song, I guess I should say. And we did burn or protect unnecessarily, nothing targeted into Sashimi, which is a little unfortunate. But realistically, if I had attacked, it would have been into Song anyway, who protected that turn. We go for the Reflect. Why do we not go for the light screen? Like, Song is so clearly the offensive problem here. Like, I literally don't know why I clicked that button. Unless it was just literally, with even a burned Sashimi on the field, I didn't expect Song to stay out, which is possible. Like, that's actually pretty reasonable logic, I think. Song is the special tank on Celeste's team. It doesn't want to eat physical hits. Again, even burned, that Aqua Tail is hitting for more than any of the special things I've hit Song with this match. And that's definitely the logic here as we Thunderbolt into the Song slot. Song just used Wish, and one of two things is going to happen after this Wish goes off, or on the turn that this Wish goes off. Either Song is going to protect to eat the Wish herself and get back up to near full health, or Song is going to switch into Starscream to try to get Starscream healthy again in front of this Gyarados, which is a pretty reasonable play right this second when it's burned and can't like reasonably do a ton of damage on the switch in, which is why we went for the Thunderbolt. We were covering for that option because overall I think in general my team does a better job of breaking Song than it does of breaking Starscream. But Song does protect, eats a big Wish, which is important. Gelato eats a body slam on the switch in, but takes almost no damage from it. Again, Yum is so passive right now with all of the Intimidates and the Reflect on the field and all of that jazz. Yeah, we have to go ahead and just play what's in front of us again, which means clicking Aqua Tail into the Song slot. And Yumian is going to switch out this turn in favor of, I believe, Brad the Raichu. Yeah, there's Brad. I kind of wish that I had gone into that slot in hindsight. That would have been really dope. But we do land an Aqua Tail into Song. We do see the Dazzling Gleam go off and do just an absolute ton of damage to Sashimi, which is unfort. We land a Toxic onto Song. And then, miracle of miracles, Gelato's healer ability activates and removes the burn from Sashimi, which is massive. Like impossibly good. I hadn't even considered that as a play to make, and that's the other real reason I should have gone into Gelato alongside Sashimi sooner, was to give that ability more opportunity to proc. If it had procced while Sashimi was healthier, this would have been an entirely different game. But now I'm in a weird spot, and I'm actually, I'm frantically Googling as we're sitting on this turn, trying to figure out whether Heal Pulse will heal through Protect. The answer is, unfortunately, that no, it won't, which means that I can't reasonably heal Sashimi. And I don't have a good switch in to Brad either, or rather I do. I don't have a good switch into the combination of Brad and Song, because my good switch into Brad is Ravioli, who does not want to eat a Dazzling Gleam, in fact. So ultimately we decided the best play on this turn is to just go ahead and protect Sashimi, and to go for a Toxic into Brad, putting that thing on a timer. I actually made a miscalculation here. Celeste made the by far better and safer play. I expected it in every situation for Brad's Thunderbolt to be going into Sashimi, but it doesn't. It goes into Gelato, because Celeste correctly read that she could just polish off Sashimi with her Dazzling Gleam, and so she could focus more damage onto Gelato. Like, she was 100% correct. That also would have given Sashimi the opportunity to attack. However, before he went down, and honestly, that might have been my best play, was just to go Aqua Tail into Song and try to take it out. I didn't do that, obviously. And that mattered. Although at this point, it's difficult to say how much that mattered, right? Like, I'm already a team of 5 with multiple status, a lot of things that are very close to death, against Celeste's full team of 6 that is overall still extremely healthy. Like, I haven't even really dented this team yet. So this is already starting to look like a match that is a long shot to even think about winning. And Ravioli comes out as Gelato protects. Ravioli is going to eat that Thunderbolt from Brad, which is very good. Ravioli is also going to eat that Dazzling Gleam from Song, which is extremely bad. And down goes Ravioli. Yeah, I've just got nothing that can handle these two mon in conjunction. Like, period, really. Like, even if I had brought Taquito, for instance, Taquito can't take a Dazzling Gleam. Are you fucking kidding me? I mean, the best answer probably would have been Claude, which Claude might actually outspeed Brad. Brad is not a fast Raichu. Like, it's still a Raichu and thus comparatively fast to a lot of things, but I think Claude might be faster. So, like, that might be the answer here, especially since I did get the Toxic Poison on Brad, is to just come in with Claude and Venoshock if I had brought him. But again, like, I made mistakes from the top down in this match, and one of them is just that I over-predicted Celeste and anticipated Mon that she did not bring. I'm not sure how much better I could have played that reasonably. The fact that 1/3 of my team of 6 is locked to me makes it really difficult to play really dynamically. But definitely, there were better plays that I could have made to address this team of 6, and I didn't make those, and that's on me ultimately. We do get the light screen up. We eat a T-Bolt from Brad into Bold the Clefairy, and Bold lives, which is at least semi-good because it means that we can get at least one turn of Follow Me action off. But that will not be this turn. This turn we're going to Protect and Reflect. Make sure that we have both screens up. I goofed up. I've already got Reflect up right now, so I just wasted my last turn of Turducken being alive, frankly. Excuse me. I should have gone for an Air Slash for damage. 100%. That was my bad. At this point, it's a 6-on-3, and all 3 of mine are pretty low. So things are starting to look pretty grim. Just period. We're going to send Sashimi out, and we're going to Follow Me and attack this turn, because, like, what else do we reasonably do here? Aqua Tail into Brad. That's something we can KO at least. So Bold is going to eat the T-Bolt, and Bold's going to go down. We're going to land the Aqua Tail, and down goes Brad. And we're going to eat the Body Slam from Yumian. And Sashimi's going to live on a hair. That being said, like, it's difficult to see a road to where that live is going to matter, frankly. Reflect wears off. Gelato's going to come out. And so does Shiitake. And at this point, like, the match is lost, right? We're in a 2-on-5 scenario. Both of my mon are living on a hair, and we have a Mach Punching Breloom on our hands. We go ahead and protect with Sashimi and go for a Toxic into Shiitake on Gelato, which is definitely my best play, but it requires... like, it still doesn't actually change anything. Because, again, Gelato doesn't have, like, immediate offensive presence. Like, if it was a different mon alongside Sashimi here, I could anticipate them attacking into Sashimi, protect it, and try to, like, get something going on the other side of the field to, like, get rid of that priority so Sashimi could do something, for instance. But in this case, like, I have no immediate offensive threat. And as such, Gelato just goes down, and now it's a 3 HP Sashimi against the world, including a Mach Punching Breloom, and this is unfortunately where the disconnect happens. So yeah, match DCs. We don't get the nice satisfying ending for Celeste. Sorry, Celeste, but at this point it was very clear how this one was going to end. This was a frustrating match for me overall. It was frustrating because there were definitely better plays that I could have made. It was also frustrating to me because there were places where there just weren't better plays for me to make. There weren't necessarily better Mon for me to bring. I just don't have the things that I need to break the tools that Celeste has. And that's just where we live right now. But it's still only mid-season. Like, we've still got a lot of Nuzlocke to play, a lot of encounters to get, a lot of eggs to hatch. Things are going to change. And one cool thing is that, you know, so much of Celeste's backbone of her team is built off these really stally walls. But, like, as we move to the late game favors offense because we're going to have more things evolve. We're going to get more offensive things that are going to have more tools and better moves, and just in general it becomes harder to play that hard stall style that Celeste has become dispositioned to playing this season as we move into the end game. As we've seen from Annabeth, like, all it really takes is like one incredible wall breaker, and suddenly, like, Celeste is scrambling. Celeste has still managed to win matches against Annabeth, of course, since she hatched her Mega Medicham, but it's getting hard, and it's only going to get harder as the series wears on. So here's looking forward to that. But of course, we do have one more match on this week, one more opportunity to bring home some points. Unfortunately, that match is against said Mega Medicham, but let's get it going and see if we can get something going this week, please. And we are back with our match against Annabeth. Anna has chosen to bring her Staraptor, her Mega Medicham, her Granbull, her Delphox, her Roserade, and her Octillery. This week we are much more prepared for those threats, thankfully, with Ravioli, Gelato, Bold, Turducken, Shelby, and Sashimi. Same team we just brought in the last match, but I think it matches up better into Anna's team overall, especially Turducken, who is trained to be a bullet in the heart of that Mega Medicham. We are going to do our Kanye best here to get something going to the very best of my ability. So once again, our lead here is Turducken Sashimi 100% of the time. I fully expect that the Mega Medicham is going to lead here for Annabeth. It's a fake out Mon. It makes a lot of sense to lead with it in doubles and rotate it in and out to use fake out. But we made sure that both Sashimi and Turducken have access to protect. So I'm not like super duper concerned here. I think we should be pretty fine. And we do see Echo the Mega Medicham and Falconer the Staraptor. Really solid lead for Annabeth, getting an Intimidate round 1, as well as a fake out. Really solid. However, we are also going to Intimidate both of these physical Mon, which is very good. And we're just going to double protect turn 1, 100% of the time. This is a play in more traditional like doubles that can actually get you into trouble because, like, for instance, if it's anticipated, your opponent can set up pretty freely, right? But we know that Staraptor, I don't believe, gets access to Swords Dance and thus doesn't have any meaningful setup against us at this time. We don't expect any, certainly. So this feels like a pretty safe play. I don't think we're going to catch a high jump kick, unfortunately, because I've got 2 flying types in front of Echo. Like, there's no real reason. If anything, if you wanted to go harder, you would go Ice Punch, not high jump kick. But I fully expect a fake out here, which we are going to protect. This is actually a little disappointing because the fake out and Falconer's attack both go into Sashimi, which means that I could have actually gone for a Reflect or an Air Slash into Echo completely unopposed on turn 1, which would have been incredible. Obviously, I did not go for that play. It was definitely a riskier play, and I don't regret playing things a little bit safer than that. But But yeah, like it's one of those what could have been things, right? We definitely go for that air slash this turn, as well as a thunderbolt into Falconer. Falconer obviously got the intimidate off on us last turn, so being able to hit it from the special side, actually not bad. I'm not sure whether special thunderbolt or -1 Ice Fang would have done more damage. That's kind of why I hovered for a second. I was unsure, but ultimately I decided to go for Thunderbolt. I think largely also because it had a better neutral switch in against most of the things on her team that might come in here. We actually see Sargasso the Octillery coming in on the other side of the field for the Mega Medicham, and then Fame the Granbull coming out for the Staraptor, getting a second wave of Intimidate off. That Thunderbolt, I'm sure, doing more damage at +2. Or at neutral than the Ice Fang would have at -2, excuse me. So we do land the Thunderbolt into the Granbull and also get the para on it. That para is going to be so important by the time the match ends. But I do have to be very careful here because I know that Sargasso gets access to a wide variety of coverage. I know it has access to ice coverage and electric coverage at this point. Ultimately, we're going to go ahead and protect Turducken here, and we are going to swap out Sashimi, I believe. Yes, into Gelato. We do go into Gelato here, which is great use of Gelato overall, honestly. Like, Gelato's a really great bulky switch in. Can take a lot of hits without sweating it too much. Just really lacking, unfortunately, in any offensive presence once it switches in. You know, like even stuff like Annabeth's Chansey, like A has reliable recovery, which just makes it much more annoying as a wall in general. But then in addition to Toxic has access to Seismic Toss for reliable damage, which is something that our Gelato is like desperately missing. Okay, we do see Sashimi coming back in favor of Gelato. Let's go. And Sargasso is also going to come back in favor of Rose the Roserade, as Turducken protects. And Fame uses Thunder Wave, paralyzing Gelato. God, in hindsight, I wish I had just gone back to the air slash into the Sargasso slot. That would have been so rad. Sometimes it'd be like that, though. Now this, I think, this turn is my single biggest misplay in this entire match, because I am going to stay in with Turducken and go for a screen. And which is, I mean, screens are fine. Screens are good. But I EV'd Turducken specifically to outspeed the Mega Medicham. Like Turducken is here, like, yes, for screens, but also very much as our best answer to Echo, which is a very huge threat in this matchup. Fame is across the field, has T-Wave, and Turducken's partner in Gelato the Audino is already paralyzed. It is incredibly telegraphed that Fame is going to go for a T-Bolt into Turducken this turn, and I'm just going to let it happen. And that was like 100% a bad play on my part. Rose the Roserade coming back out in favor of Samsara the Delphox. And Gelato coming back in favor of Sashimi the Gyarados. Getting another Intimidate off, just making Fame utterly worthless for anything other than, you know, Charm or Thunder Wave, which we are going to see come out of Fame and paralyze Turducken. And now I'm actually like legitimately in trouble as far as Mega Medicham is concerned, because I can no longer outspeed and have a reasonable chance of one-hit KOing it. That time is gone. We're gonna go ahead and stay in and go for a Reflect, because like, why not at this point, right? Do we change our mind? I might change my mind here. No, I do go for the Reflect, and I also bring out Bolt. At this point, I'm positioning for Shelby, which is also, like, to be clear, that was also a mistake. I did dodge the Will-O-Wisp here, which is good. Not getting burned on Sashimi is good. But what I did not anticipate before positioning for like the Shelby break is that I've left my opponent with 2 Intimidate Mon that they can cycle. Which, spoilers for like the next like 6 turns, that is exactly what is going to happen. Is Annabeth is going to get out Rose the Roserade into the Samsara slot, and in the other slot is going to be, or into one of the slots. It doesn't really matter which one, I guess. And then the other is going to begin cycling between Fame and Falconer, getting an Intimidate off every turn and really minimizing all of my offensive gains from setup, which is a huge problem. There was always there was very little path in this matchup, I feel like, to an end game where Annabeth did not have an Intimidate user, but giving her both of her Intimidate users, I think, was just a capital P problem, and it keeps Shelby from being nearly as efficient as she could have been. Another thing is, like, for like the next 3 turns, I am going to follow me Swords Dance on Shelby, and for at least one of those, I should have protected Bold, because what we're going to have coming at us offensively is Rose the Roserade's Venoshock. Shelby is not poisoned. I really reasonably should have been able to live one of those, assuming that it was aimed into Shelby. And if it was aimed directly into Bold, I could have just gotten a free turn of setup altogether, which would have been, frankly, incredible. And yep, Fame's going to come back out in favor of Rose here. And here we go. But yeah, I definitely made some errors in my mental calculations here. This was a fairly sloppily played sequence. I think the rest of this match I actually kind of play out of my fucking mind. I play extremely well, but this particular bit is not that. So sorry, guys. I definitely meant to do better for y'all. But yeah, we're going to Swords Dance and follow me. We're going to see Annabeth switch out Falconer for Fame and just start Venoshock on Rose. And that's going to be where we live for like the next 3 turns. This is so unfortunate, right? Because like this was the week for Shelby to be really, really like capital E effective. Like as of next week, like I'm gonna have a Garchomp, and I'm gonna have a Dragon Dancing Gyarados, and like Shelby is never going to be my most effective setup sweeping option, literally ever again. This was the time, and I was just in both of our matches. I made misplays that really kept her from being effective. Like if I had gone for that second Swords Dance against Celeste and hit Starscream with that +4 knockoff and crit that one, which I mean obviously you can't count on crits, like that's not a thing that I planned on, but if that had gone exactly the same way but I had been another +2, then Starscream would have been dead. And then I could have switched out on Shelby, and it just would have been a whole different game. But, you know, sometimes it'd be like that. And this is probably going to be if I remember correctly, the last turn of setup. Yeah, because Bold's going to go down from one more Venoshock. Again, if I had protected here, I think that would have been very good. I haven't seen Celeste's side, or I haven't seen Annabeth's side of this battle, so I'm not sure if she was targeting into Shelby or into Bold. But like, I think either way, that could have been really good if I had just protected Bold. Because the additional +1 in the end game would have mattered a lot here, like a lot. But we do see Bold the Clefairy go down. Light screen wears off. And we're going to go Gelato. And we're going to return into Rose, which I do think was ultimately the correct play, just to get damage off. Like, if we let Rose live this turn and Rose stays in, Rose is going to Giga Drain into Shelby, and that'll be all that they wrote for Shelby. However, Rose does not stay in. Rose comes out in favor of Falconer, getting one more Intimidate off. So after all those turns are set up, we are at +1 attack, +2 speed. Not nearly where we want to be for that investment, but we return into Falconer and almost secure the KO. That, again, that extra +1 would have been really, really important. But we then get a Charm from Fame into Shelby. Shelby is now -1 attack, which is so frustrating. This is also, I think, going to be a pretty major misplay. We go back for the Swords Dance, trying to get our offense back. We should have kept our eyes on the prize and gone back after Falconer. Here, we go after Falconer with Gelato, obviously, but we're letting Falconer get an attack off, and we didn't need to. I could have kept Shelby really, really healthy here by just returning into Falconer once more and finishing the job. So this was, again, a pretty significant misplay on my part. We see a return out of Falconer, and it's going to do, again, a significant amount of damage into Shelby. And then we get a Thunder Wave into Shelby, which I believe I'm holding Lum. No. Did I already eat my Lum? Maybe I already ate it. Well, shit. Yeah, so now I'm actually legitimately paralyzed, and I'm not going to be faster than Falconer anymore, which means Falconer's going to get a second hit off. So yeah, like, they got Anna got really good value out of that one sliver of life, largely based off of my misplay. I should have KO'd Falconer last turn instead of being greedy and going for another SD. That was entirely my bad. We take another return, and Shelby goes down. So Shelby did not secure literally even a single KO. We do land the T-Bolt into Falconer, and Falconer goes down as well. But at the end of the day, I traded my Clefairy and my Kingler for the Staraptor, which was not a good trade, y'all. That was not well done on my part. We eat a Charm on Gelato. Gelato don't care. Gelato's not physical, does not hit physical, literally at all. But that could have been a lot different if I had just taken out Fame sitting in front of me. It's one of those things, right? You're always tempted to let the fairly passive support mon live, but then they can keep doing support things in front of you, and that's almost never good. We do bring Sashimi out here, which was a good call because Echo, the Mega Medicham, comes out as well, and we're able to get the Intimidate off. And once again, Echo is coming out into two mon that both have Protect. So we're able to just go ahead and double Protect here. Like, if we're lucky, Echo just like goes aggressive high jump kick into Gelato and takes half its health. But worst case, it's probably going for fake outs, and we prevent those, and that's good. Echo fakes out into Sashimi. Actually, going for the double here was probably a bad idea, and this is why. Thankfully, that was a misplay on my part, but Annabeth is about to misplay and make it okay, because Anna's going to switch out Echo here. The correct play 100% of the time here. Gelato just used Protect. Double protecting has a really low success rate. Like, the correct play is the high jump kick into Gelato 100% of the time. Secure the KO. And Anna does not. She gets a little gun shy. She goes out into Rose the Roserade instead, as we bring Sashimi out in favor of Ravioli. Ravioli, give me the Deathioli. Gelato goes for Toxic into that slot, but obviously it does nothing to the poison type Roserade. Fame goes for a Thunder Wave, which also does nothing, because Ravioli ground type. And this is probably, this turn right here is maybe the single most important bit of RNG going my way in this match. I think, period. I think that this is an extremely important turn in the grand scheme of this match. So we're going for a Dragon Rush into Roserade and a Heal Pulse into Ravioli, as Rose the Roserade goes for a Stun Spore into Ravioli, which would have been so upsetting if it had landed, but thankfully it misses. Annabeth, the queen of missing stun spores and sleep powders. I'm so sorry, Anna, but that was a hugely important turn for your boy. We do land the Dragon Rush. We take out the Roserade. The heal pulse doesn't even matter because we take no damage, but then we do eat a charm from Fame the Grand Bull, which is a problem. So yeah, unfortunately, Ravioli's going to have to come out here. So we're going to go back out into Sashimi here, get the Intimidate off on the Mega Medicham, and we're going to go for a Protect, which once again, that might have been that one I think was less of a misplay because like pretty even odds, right? Do you go for Ice Punch into the into the Gabite, or do you go for High Jump Kick into the Audino? In this case, we are going to see that it is going to be Ice Punch into the Gabite, which we eat reasonably well on Sashimi. That's not a huge problem. We also do a little bit of damage back with Rocky Helmet, which is dope, and Fame is paralyzed, which is also dope. And at this point, we got to stay in. Like, there's not really much else to be done here with Sashimi. I can protect him if I feel like I'm in extreme danger, but at -1, I don't feel like I'm in a huge place of concern. God, I can't remember if Reflect is still up at this point. I don't believe it is. I think it's been too long. But I should still live any one hit at -1 for Echo. So we go for an Aqua Tail and we swap out into Turducken, which is a pretty safe swap. If Echo goes for a High Jump Kick into that slot, it'll be quad resisted by the bird. So Gelato comes back in favor of Turducken. And Echo goes for a Psycho Cut into Sashimi. And it crits. And it is enough to bring Sashimi down. I think that crit actually did matter quite a bit. I don't think that it would have KO'd without it. That being said, that's definitely one that Annabeth was due for. Especially in light of what's coming soon, TM. So this is, I think, a really cool and important play. This is kind of me playing out of my mind a little bit because Echo, at this point, is the fastest thing in existence, and it's got something to kill anything I have on the field. So I put the Gabite in front of it to draw the Ice Punch, and then immediately hard out into Gelato, who can certainly eat that hit at -1. Yeah. I think the best possible play against Annabeth this turn is to bait that Ice Punch, and we managed to do it. Let's go. We land the Air Slash, let's go, and it does less damage than I anticipated. I'm not sure if Annabeth invested more heavily into bulk than I expected her to, or like what the deal is. But at that range, that should have been a one-hit KO, and it wasn't, which is a little disappointing. But best news we've gotten all day, Healer activates again from Gelato and removes the paralysis from Turducken. This is probably the single most important turn of RNG in this entire match. I think it's less RNG than missing Stun Spore, to be honest. I'm not sure what the activation rate is on Healer, but I'm sure it's higher than the 10% miss chance on Stun Spore. But like, this is now like hugely important because now the fastest thing on the field is not the Mega Medicham. The fastest thing on the field is the Sigilyph, and we can remove the Mega Medicham now, which is so important. And Annabeth clearly does not realize that, because if she realized that, then the correct play for her would be to switch Echo out and to Thunder Wave Turducken again. But that's not the play that she makes. We do see that we are paralyzed on Gelato, but we do get the Air Slash off. It connects, and Echo the Mega Medicham goes down for Annabeth. Fame goes for a return, but with the attack drops, the defensive stats that we have on this side of the field, that's just not doing much of anything, frankly. We're not particularly scared of it. But we have a full health Turducken, no longer paralyzed. It's in a great place to be. Suddenly this match is very, very winnable again. And Sargasso comes out for Annabeth. We go for a Toxic into Sargasso. In hindsight, Thunderbolt was probably the better play there, just to get the immediate damage. But, you know, sometimes it'd be like that. And then we swap out on the other side of the field into Ravioli, preserving Turducken. And here we go. Here comes Ravioli. Sargasso charge beams into the Audino slot, so we did not immune it out, but does not manage to get the special attack boost, which is great news. Yeah, unfortunately, I think even as mediocre as Gelato's offensive stats are, I definitely think Thunderbolt was probably the play there. Like, we're reaching the end game. We're waiting for that toxic poison to, like, slowly start to rack damage is not super viable. We are going to go out in the Gelato slot into Turducken, and we are going to go for a Dragon Rush into Sargasso. So here comes Turducken. And we land the Dragon Rush. We are 2 for 2 on those, despite no accuracy boost. Let's go. And it is enough to bring down Sargasso. Let's go. We do see another Charm come out from Fame, which is not ideal. And Annabeth is going to bring out her Delphox Samsara, her final Pokemon. We are 3-2 in this end game, ladies and gentlemen. Who would have thought with where we started that this is where we would end up? We're going to go for an Air Slash into Samsara and then hard swap out into Gelato. We definitely want to protect Gelato from that Will-O-Wisp if we can at all help it. We do see the Will-O-Wisp into the Ravioli slot, so that was a good swap. We land the Air Slash into Samsara, and again, this is probably my last big misplay of this match. There was a couple, and this one I'm a little bit more forgiving of myself for, because it was so late, you guys. I was so tired by the time we were done playing this match. But I did not pay close enough attention to who outsped who in that initial exchange, because I am going to misplay right here when I go for another Air Slash into Samsara. I should have light screened this turn. I should have recognized that Samsara was faster and gone for the light screen for the end game, and I did not. And that was my bad. I could have also, for instance, in this coming turn, I could have protected while I Thunderbolted into Samsara, because I knew that Samsara was going to outspeed Turducken, but I just wasn't that mentally with it at this point, and so I made just a straight mental math error. That is my bad. Instead, I'm going to go for a light screen here, which is, I think, 100% of the time the wrong play. I could have also heal pulsed. Well, no, I think I did heal pulse the turn prior. I just couldn't get it off because paralysis, but you know, either way, no matter what I clicked that turn, I was fully paralyzed. That I can't really call a misplay. But Samsara does outspeed and KOs with Fireball, with Flamethrower. Again, I made the worst possible play in that particular circumstance. Also, probably Toxicking Samsara was not a good play there. I probably, if anything, should have gone for a T-Bolt into Fame, just to start getting damage going on that side. So out comes Ravioli, our last great hope. I'm still feeling pretty good at this point, obviously. Like, it's 2-on-2, but Samsara is very, very hurt. And I don't think that anything it can do can one-hit KO Ravioli. So we're just going to go Bulldoze Protect here. The Protect does not land, unfortunately, so we are going to be taking damage from our own Bulldoze. We do get a Psyshock coming out of Samsara, which does a lot of damage, but not enough. Certainly, not nearly enough. And then the Bulldoze is enough to bring Samsara down, and we are now 2v1 against Fame. But this is not a finished battle by any stretch. Fame is really fat, like really, really fat. And Fame and Gelato are both paralyzed. And so there's a lot of things that could happen here. I'm also locked into Bulldoze, which means that I'm attacking my own side of the field as well. Obviously, Protect is a thing, but like, yeah, just worth remembering. I'm locked in. We do get the Protect off that time, so we are only going to damage the opponent, which is nice. It's also nice that we're getting those speed drops. I'm pretty sure Gelato is already faster than Fame, but just making sure that we are faster while we are both paralyzed is good. We do see Return coming out of Fame, which I think was definitely the correct play. You could have gone for a Charm there, but I think in this end game, you pretty much have to go for damage, or you're just like slowing down how quickly you lose. So we're going to go for a Bulldoze from Ravioli and a Heal Pulse into Ravioli. And we crit our own Gelato, which is not great. The other not great thing here is that we're fully paralyzed, so we don't get the Heal Pulse off. And then Fame lands the Return. And then now suddenly this is anyone's match because we are both paralyzed. We are both in like the middle yellow as far as our health is concerned. And neither of us deal a ton of damage. So this really now becomes the game of who is going to be fully paralyzed more often. We've both had more than our fair share of full paras over the course of this match. So let's see how it plays out in the end game here. We do land that T-Bolt, and we're going to take the Return in return. I think we're doing a little bit more damage than we're taking, but not like substantially. And we started a little bit lower, but we have the Leftovers recovery. Again, like it's neck and neck right now. And so like the only correct play here for me is to protect or try to protect every other turn to allow the Leftovers to rack and to really try to push myself over. Although that's also like, again, if I'm fully paralyzed and I just take a hit, like that sucks. It should take me, I think, 2 more Thunderbolts hitting to finish off Fame. It should take him about 3 returns, I think, from this point to finish me off, or a crit. So it just becomes a question of who's going to get it. We land the T-Bolt, we eat the Return, and it is not a crit. And we're going to go ahead and go for T-Bolt again. As long as we're not fully paralyzed, this will end the match. And we're fully paralyzed. So now, is Fame fully paralyzed? No. Fame does not crit. Banjo, be quiet. And here we go. Like 2 more of those or 1 crit will finish me off. Don't Heal Pulse him. That would also finish me off. We're going to go for T-Bolt one more time. And we're going to land it, and we're going to finish that match off. But holy cow, I think easily our best match of the season, certainly the closest one, coming down to a hair, like really, really exciting. Worth noting there that I didn't play perfectly, but I think that the misplays that Anna made were definitely more impactful overall. Like I needed RNG to win that match, and I had to play out of my mind, but I wouldn't have even had the ability to win with those factors if Anna had not also misplayed. So yeah, it was a really, really exciting week of PvP. We go 1-1. Again, I'm not super thrilled with what I saw out of my team. We need to make some changes. Hopefully we get the pieces we need to make those changes this week. But this dog is freaking out, so I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. As always, I have been Jolly by Nature. Thank you for watching. See y'all next time.
Hey, what's up, everybody? You made it to the end of the video. That is so awesome. Thank you so much for spending some time with us. Be sure to click the like and subscribe buttons so you stay up to date on what I and my co-hosts are doing right here on the Blastburn Radio YouTube page. Also, be sure to check out Blastburn Radio Podcast, which is available wherever fine pods are casted, as well as at our website down below at blastburnradio.com. But yeah, we'll be back next time, and I hope to see you there. Take care.